going to talk about the Crilly house. My husband and I are the owners. My husband has passed. One of the mottos of this home was this: dream no small dreams, for they have no power to move the hearts of men. And that was written by Goethe, and that was my husband and I's motto for a long time, because these stories are no small stories that I will tell you. Four children were born to the couple who built the house, John and Rosa Crilly, and the oldest one would be Bill, and they've all passed, but the oldest one would be Bill, and he had a relationship with, he met Cecil B. DeMille's when he had his business in California, and they became close friends. He wanted to become a priest, so the Crillys funded his studies in the seminary, and he became Father John Howley, and he was in the Sioux City Diocese for a long time. He was to board the Titanic from Southampton on its maiden voyage from there to New York, and somehow he didn't get there in time, so he missed the boat and did not die until sometime in the 60s or 70s. And he decorated all of the Catholic churches in the area of Danbury, Carroll, Breda, all around the area. And he used the finest gold leaf paint, and he studied at the Art Institute in Chicago, and that's he happened to be a brother-in-law of the people who built the house. So I believe a brother-in-law, and we had a close relative. So he did the decorations and the 7 murals that are painted on the walls, including the walls that look like castled brick. He did all those by hand. And he had murals on the ceilings as well. Over time they were covered, except one of the murals that could be restored by anybody. It does have gold leaf paint, and it was also very beautiful. With the house, there's a wash house. The wash house I converted into a garage, and maybe it was done long before our time there. But the wash house had a chimney, and then some kind of a stove in there to heat, and it was right at the end of the sidewalk by the back door, and that's where the wash house was. And they had their own water system, their own heat system. The house was totally self-contained with anything that they possibly needed, and the water was heated it was pumped to the attic, and in the attic was a container, that some kind of a tank that held the water, and then it would heat up there, and then it would go to the basement, and it would have they would have hot water in the basement when it came time to move the wash from the wash house into the basement. And in the backyard was a grove of fruit trees, and I believe they were apple trees, and Aunt Rosa did all of her own canning and all of her own food preparation, like they did in those days, you know, in the early 1900s. And the house also has a walk-in pantry, and the walk-in pantry is actually, the floor plan is still there, but the new peninsula with the stove was placed in there. And before we built the house, or we moved into the house, someone had taken that wall out to the pantry, but the back wall with the glass doors on that side are still there. And that's what the pantry looked like on the other side as well, and that's where Aunt Rosa made her pies and did all of her baking. And then she would pass those through the pass-through, which would be on the opposite side of where she made the pies, and she would pass them through to the dining room. When the family members died, like Uncle John, they had a wake service in the house. And if you close the pocket doors between the parlor and the music room, the casket would be on the side of the music room. So if you came in the front door, you could see the casket. And my husband remembers, he remembered staying there and sleeping on a black leather love seat in the parlor on the other side of the pocket doors the nights that they didn't want to leave the corpse there alone. So he remembered that, and I thought, okay, they had the wake service in the home in those days. And now that we're in the middle parlor where the white fireplace sits, that room had dark green velvet curtains that matched the murals in that room. And they were beautiful green velvet curtains. And I did that a few years back, and the sun faded them real bad. So I had to take them down, but dark green velvet in the parlor. And they could have also been in the front parlor, which I call the music room. He was, his granddaughter lives in Danbury as we speak, but he would check every single piece of lumber, every stick of lumber for any kind of anything that might be wrong with it. He would check every single piece. So nothing went into that house without being checked and double checked.